Hey crafters, welcome back to She's Crafty Paperworks. If you're new here, I'm Jen, and normally I post on Saturdays, but I think I'm going to try something this year, and that's doing a pseudo Vlogmas, cardmas situation where I post as much as I can. I won't be able to post every day just because of work, but I do have a lot of cards to make and 3 weeks to do it. So I'm thinking with Vlogmas, I will have minimal editing and will be able to kind of go through a lot of the makes that I'm making as the days kind of get closer and closer. I feel like the walls are closing in a little bit. I thought I had plenty of time, and then suddenly it's time to bust out the advent calendars. So I'm freaking out a little bit. Okay. Let's get to what today's video is going to be about. And I wanted to do some pattern paper with die cuts, and specifically using 2 sets from HoneyBee. The first one is Grandma's Christmas Tree, and that one has a stencil pack and embossing folder with the bundle, and I use that to replicate a couple of trees that I know are special to the people that I'm giving the cards to, one of them being my mom. And the other die set that I'm using is the reindeer. And this is last year's reindeer. It's not the one that was the freebie for the Thanksgiving Black Friday sale. This is the one that I'm working with. And I'll come back to this card here in a second. But I did want to talk a little bit about where the papers I'm using are coming from. And for the deer, I used flocked cardstock. Sometimes that's called crushed velvet. Let's see. There we go. Sometimes it's called crushed velvet. Other times it's called flocked. It's the fuzzy paper. And I was working with an open pack of the Doodlebug, and one of the things, I just bought this for the holiday season, and I noticed that they took some of the colors away, and one of them is a dark brown. So if you wanted to replicate this, I would recommend finding another source, because it's not going to be in the pack this year. So this one was I was fortunate enough to be able to use this for the antlers, and then the other 2 colors come from this Recollections paper. The Recollections paper is Michael's brand. And in addition to that, I'm using the Holly Jolly. This is also Recollections, and this is vellum. I use one of these, but there's some really cute stuff in here for vellum. And this one is the paper pack, and I saw this and I scooped it right up. I bought actually the 6x6 and the 12x12 pad, and that's in a lot of the ephemera and stuff like that. And it's because I really love these patterns, the pink and green. And there's a retro feel to them, which is what I'm specifically looking for 2 of the recipients. So just great paper. Lots of fun, lots of things that you can do with it. And this is double-sided. And this pack is from Crafter's Companion, and this one really inspired the whole card making session, because I'm looking for 2 different recipients. I'm looking for them to have kind of a mid-century feel to them, one more so than the other. And I came across this back in Christmas in July time, and I think this is scrapbook.com. And because a lot of these patterns had these atomic stars, that really was something that I was looking for, because the recipient is an older gentleman and he collects a lot of mid-century collectibles, but specifically he loves atomic stars. So this was right up my alley, and so some really cute stuff. Little reindeer. So perfectly old school designs. That's what I wanted. And I'm gonna put that away. And so let's just go and jump into the cards that I made using these materials. This first one I showed you, and this, when I'm using pattern paper, there's a couple rules that I try to follow. If I have something that has a lot of things on the pattern, I will use as contrast one that is a little bit more sparse. And I will also do it by scale or size. So if this is bigger, these will be smaller, or vice versa. Now, for a lot of us, I think we started with pattern paper. I know I did back in my scrapbook days. That was something that I worked with a lot. But so I do know that a lot of crafters that I know don't feel comfortable mixing patterns. So that little kind of tidbit that I offered, that's just something I picked up a long time ago from, is if anybody, let's see if you're in my age range, Christopher Lowell. If you remember Christopher Lowell, he used to have a TV show on TLC, I believe, and he taught me a lot of things in the 90s, him and Martha Stewart. But with this card, when I have the different patterns going, something like a solid is also going to break up and give more focus to the deer. And then off to the side here, I have the sentiment. This is Spellbinders, and I have some Park Lane crystals, and that's from Joanne. May she rest in peace. This next card has a similar pattern to it, in that I have the tiny, the large, the solid, as kind of my way to break up the design and be able to showcase the deer. And the deer for this one, I use that dark brown to make the deer's face, whereas this one I was using the lighter one because I had the dark brown as the antlers. And I really wanted the fuzzy cardstock for this because the flocked is very much a mid-century type thing. Now with this one, again, some of the kind of my same rule there of trying to place scale and to make sure that I don't have my patterns competing with each other, and then having this kind of focal spot for the deer. Now I do that for actually, get this and this fourth card. I do the same thing. This one, I speckled in gold the solid red, and then I have the blue, a solid blue, and this right here is my pattern. I don't have multiple patterns going. I chose this one because this is the one I'm giving to the recipient, because it has all of these atomic stars. And to make it a little bit more masculine, I have the red and blue, and then this kind of not quite teal color. And then I did originally have a red ornament, but it was getting lost in the antlers with the red background. So I went and just added on top of it this kind of peach color, which mimics some of the stars. I also added a blue scarf because I thought without something around the neck, the deer looks a little plain. And this really kind of breaks that up a little bit. And then the Very Merry, I believe, is Concord and Ninth. But this is the card I'm giving him. So I was very happy that I was able to settle on something. And the gold speckle that I used for the red is this right here. It's Windsor and Newton. And I just put that, dipped it in a paintbrush in it and just splattered it with my finger on the brush. Okay, let's talk about the next set of cards. And these are using the Grandma's Christmas tree dies with the embossing folder and stencil. And this first one is without the embossing folder. It's the option that you have. It comes with 2 Christmas trees. One that is just kind of plain, and then you do all of the design work with the embossing folder and the stencil. The other one comes with little lines that it puts little tiny holes or slits that you put the lights into. And there's more than lights. There's also candles and because these are supposed to mimic the ceramic trees, there's also like these little bird ones. And when I put this together, I did it on the background with the tree right on top. And because this is a 5x7 card, I thought that it was looking a little plain. So before I glued everything down, I added a couple of these snowflakes. These are from Christina Warner, and this is from Spellbinders. And I opted to put it here to kind of balance out the white. And so I have the candles, and the candles, before I die cut them, I just took some of this Spellbinder Splatter Effects, and it has a wand that's similar to nail polish. And so I just did that on top of the card, or on the paper, and then I die cut it, and I have these sparkly little candles. And these little AB crystals, this is the HoneyBee's diamonds. I highly recommend. Now, I made 2 of these cards, or 2 of these trees. And the reason I did that is it resembles the one that my mom made and gave to me when I got married. And she made this, and it was my entire life, it took kind of center stage. It's a very large tree. It's got to be at least 2 feet. And the base is a musical box, and she made it, and it has this kind of white iridescent color to it with blue bulbs and a blue star. And it's just a gorgeous tree because the iridescent kind of shimmer effect reflects off of that blue. And when I made this first tree, I was very pleased with it, but I had it sitting down here, and I was doing some ink blending with yellow for the star and the lights for the flame. And I dropped the ink pad right on top of the tree. So this sentiment and the width of this card is done intentionally to hide that, because all of this is yellow. So I didn't want to give it up. I thought that this came out great. I really like the iridescent from that. And the iridescent spray that I used The iridescent spray that I use is from Altenew. And this has been my favorite this season. I've been using this a lot. But I completely saturated the card to get that iridescent effect. And then you can see that I also shimmered the background and the sentiment. I'm still debating if I'm going to add any embellishments over here. I don't know if I'm just going to embrace this large amount of white space here, because I do have something happening everywhere else. But I don't know. It feels like it's missing something. If I maybe even, I looked through my embellishments, I didn't see anything that stood out to me, but something that occurred to me is doing some atomic stars. And I have a couple dies that have the atomic stars from Tim Holtz collections. And I'm thinking I'm going to do a couple of those and kind of maybe add a little bit more to this. Not quite sure yet, but I feel like this card isn't quite finished. But I'm just happy that I didn't have to throw this tree away, that I made it work. Now, this is the one that I'm going to give to my mom. Her favorite color is teal. And while this is technically not pattern paper, this is Sizzix dies from also Tim Holtz. And I have glitter cardstock. I have Lake Front, which is Concord and Ninth, and Peacock, which is Concord and Ninth, which is this darker one. So this tree is, again, the same one as this one, made the same way with the iridescence. And then I took my glimmer and I had a kind of an aqua teal sentiment or a foil to do the sentiment with. For the one that I intended to make for my mom, I'm very pleased with. And I also got to play around with different sizes. I have some 5x7s. These are technically 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and that's because my envelopes are 6x6. Not too bad for a fairly quick crafting session. Okay, I'm stopping here. I'm rambling. It's 9:30 and it's late. I am going to stop. It's been a long day. Okay, let me know in the comments. What was your favorite? Do you use a lot of pattern paper and do you mix those with dies, or do you do the ephemera that comes with some of the pattern paper? How do you like to use your pattern paper, if at all? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested to hear. Okay, I will see you soon, very soon, for more card making adventures. Take care. Bye-bye.